Okay, so for the second graphics video, I do want to go over my go-to graphics package within R, which is ggplot2. It used to be ggplot, now it's ggplot2. This is almost unlimited what this package will do. I've used it for things all across the board, but I'm going to just show you some basics here. So of course, just running through this code, we start by loading our package. I'm going to create some factors. This is actually from the manual for ggplot2. We have data on cars, and we have information such as their number of gears, whether they are automatic or manual, and then the number of cylinders. For the cars, it looks actually like this. So you can see we got a bunch of different cars and all this information about it. So there's a lot you can do, lots of functions, lots of ways you can kind of pull apart and aggregate your data to get different views of it within the ggplot2 package. I'm just going to, like I said, show you some basics. So let's start with a density plot. And this is better than your average density plot. It's using some more modern visualizations. So notice here we just have miles per gallon plotted on the x-axis, and then the estimated kernel density of those mile per gallon values for 3 gears, 4 gears, and 5 gears. Notice how this was plotted. We just put in as the object mpg the miles per gallon, which is on the x-axis, and then had the shape fill be density. Okay, and then had the fill vary by gear. Recall that gear is a categorical variable in this data set right there. Okay, so we also could have done something instead more like a scatter plot. So for example, let me find my window, it's hiding. Here's a scatter plot. Notice what we've done here in the code. We're looking at horsepower, which is on the x-axis, as a relationship to mpg, miles per gallon. We are allowing for the scaffolding here, or trellising, to depend on the number of cylinders and the number of gears. So notice we've got the number of cylinders up here and the number of gears in the y direction. So for example, let's look at this one. This is one of the more interesting ones. This would be 4 cylinders and 4 gears. And then we have multiple cars plotted in here, and the plotting symbol varies by whether or not the car is automatic or manual. So that was entered under here for shape and color. Very interesting, huh? Here we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different variables incorporated into one graph. And so we can automatically see the distribution, or the number, not distribution so much, but the number that have these different cylinder and gear combinations, and then also where they align to with regard to whether or not the car is automatic or manual, and how that relationship for the horsepower and miles per gallon may vary by all of these other 3 factors. Lots of ways you can slice and dice your data using plots like this. We also could make separate regressions of mpg on weight for each of the cylinders. So here, let's examine the plot first. We've kind of got a piecewise regression here. We've got weight on the x-axis, miles per gallon on the y-axis, but we've got it regressions individually estimated according to number of cylinders. So we've got the 4 cylinders, I think that's what I have, 6 cylinders, and then 8 cylinders. And we can see the slope in particular, as well as the y-intercept, vary dramatically across those different classes of cars. Notice how the formulas aren't changing all that much. We're just using different types of plots. and you really don't have to use much variation on the code. Once you learn the basic code, it's so highly adaptable to whatever kind of situation you want. The last plot instead looks at a box plot. So again, the same kind of code as we did before. Now we're just giving it the directions that we're going to use a box plot. We also jittered the points overlaid. So I actually like to do this. I know it may get messy when you have a lot more points than this, but I especially if I'm teaching interpretation of box plots to students, I really like to show that jittering of points on there. I think that's really useful for understanding interpretation of these graphics and being able to develop skill in doing that. So here we can see for 3 gears, 4 gears, and 5 gears, we get these side-by-side box plots, but we also get miles per gallon plotted here on the y-axis. So it's side-by-side according to the number of gears. And it's nice looking, color coded. We got a grid on the back, so there's all these nice little touches you can do. All right, so I think that's enough of ggplot2 or ggplot2. I just barely scratched the surface, to tell you the truth, but this is enough to give you a taste of some of the more available type of graphs you can use within this package.